Good morning, traders. This is Michael coming to you from GammaEdge on Tuesday, August 29th. We're going to review the market structure. We'll be looking at the tick market model, and then we'll be looking at some pre-market price action for our if this, then this thesis for trading today.
Unlock your potential with a comprehensive suite of investing tools and expert education with GammaEdge. Start your free 14-day trial today.
Here we have PM settled, 8:29, spot updated up here. Make sure you note that, and then all expiries turned on. Narrow transition here, very nice structure. If this, then this. It can be laid out pretty easily. We do denote that the structure is changing. We are still in the money and out of the money put dominated, but we are seeing a significant more amount of calls being exposed via the net delta. These will show up as green. So that is a lean towards the bullish thesis if this can structure completely start to change for in the money and out of the money. So make sure you note these larger net delta nodes above transition level, which would be 44.75 and 4,500 up here, 6 billion net delta being targeted up there pretty significantly. Still, those are puts, but if this starts to vaporize or mechanical closing, may begin to expose calls up here, which would lead us to move up towards that direction towards 4,500. 4,400 to the downside. Again, notice the calls filling in nicely below transition. This will provide us liquidity below demand level and supportive type action unless this vaporizes or goes away. And then all the way down to 4,390. 4,400 again would be a demand area that would be looking for. So we'll see how this continues to transition. Again, we noted yesterday that we started seeing some small areas just directly above and below spot price. We had a smaller box, but now we're starting to expand those green net deltas out further, which gives us the probability that we could be seeing the beginnings of a structure change in the overall expiry on the SPX PM settled. Here we go, 0 DTE, again, pretty narrow transition, would like it a little bit more narrow, but spot price is right in the middle. Make sure you take note of that. So we could go either way within transition, depending on where we open pre-market. Opening above spot price, we would want to see that level hold and start to move up towards 44.55. Again, significant level there. That may cause us some stalling on the first move up into that area. If we get above 44.55, then we'd be looking for 44.75. Make sure you note the low area exposure here at 44.65, which could be an area that we decide to sit in after we move up to 44.75. To the downside, if we lose the transition level in trans below, we still have calls dominated in the money and out of the money above and below spot price. So those will be supportive. Again, all the way down to 4,400. Moving below 4,400 obviously is a significant line in the sand. More than likely would see more weakness, but not anticipating that today, at least in my market look. So again, move down to 4,400 may be an opportunity to get involved in the market if we see the tick continue up and the structure continue to expand with calls above and below spot price. Plus 1 DTE, we like to look at this. Again, I encourage you to go back and look at plus 1 DTE yesterday, which was 0 DTE today. And we started seeing the structure change within the money and out of the money calls being exposed with the green net deltas. Very narrow transition today, on the plus 1 DT, which is nice. Really, your if this, then this can be risk reward can be very narrow. Again, 4,400 to the downside, 44.50. Very well defined there to the upside, 44.80, which would leave us to that 4,500 within that area. Then we start seeing the negative net deltas come in the money puts here. Again, continue to note these out of the money puts continue to go away and being filled in by in the money calls, which is a supportive type structure as we continue on out with the expiries for the rest of the week. Expiry for the week, again, notice those in the money calls being very supportive below us, which is nice. In the money puts here are starting to go away a little bit. Significant amount at 4,500 though. So any move up to that 4,500 may be a possible stalling point. Really between that 4,580 and 4,500, you see a very low exposure there. Could be stalling areas if we move into that area. Below 4,400, most likely see a little bit more weakness, but again, these in the money calls are filling in nicely, provide us demand and liquidity below us. Here's all expiries for the combo complex. Again, roughly the same transition area and levels being targeted on multiple expiries, which is good. We like to see that confluence continue to come in. This is a little bit more heavily weighted to the upside on the put side, but again, we continue to see these in the money and out of the money calls expand above and below spot price in transition, which is what you have to see for price to move up. Again, 4,500 to the upside, 10 billion net delta sitting there may be a stalling point, depending on if we see an exposure or evaporation or a mechanical closing of these puts to the upside. So we'll make sure we watch this above this 44.65 to 44.70 to see if these deltas start turning green, which would leave a little bit more to the bullish thesis of moving to the upside. Downside, obviously 4,400, 37 billion net delta will be providing a massive amount of liquidity as we move down, so demand would be great around that level. Possible opportunity to get involved if we move down on any weakness. Again, starting to transition to positive call dominated above and below a spot price. Here's the landscape view. Negative GEX still at 4,300 here, plus GEX 4,600, not much change there. 4,400 continues to grow, this box right in here, providing us liquidity to the downside. 4,440, nice transition area, very well defined there. We continue to see the call speculation alive and well above plus GEX. So thesis still there for the bulls, possibly to move to the upside. And then the puts really opportunistic, providing nice downside liquidity also. So again, as we discussed yesterday, I think Paul discussed multiple times, the crash scenario is definitely not on the table, just moving down into these levels and then providing liquidity, mechanical closing, and then moving back up, bounce. So we really do have a good market structure to provide us if this, then this, demand down here and supply up here. And then if this these puts begin to close and we really start to see us flip back to a total in the money and out of the money call dominated structure, we definitely could move back to the upside. Tick, constructive yesterday. The new highs versus new lows narrowed significantly, which is nice. We would like to see the actually new highs overtake new lows and start getting multiple days compounded of new highs. Filter tick yesterday lived above the zero line all day. That's a good development that we haven't seen for multiple days and weeks. Cumulative tick living above the zero line. Obviously, the short-term CT bolded white line living above the short-term moving averages is essential for us to move back up to the upside and start changing this negative slope. Still have the colored ribbon overhead that could cause us prone to failure. Again, red below cyan and negative slope, so the market overall long-term market model is still turned off, but we could see a changing of the state here as we had a trigger day back here and we're continuing here back to the upside. ARCX looks a little bit better. Obviously, we had a trigger day here. We're continuing back to the upside, and we'd like to see this expand to the upside and start having railroad track up even further. That would start negating this negative slope, and the red would like to see it cross above the cyan. At the earliest, we'd like to see this start to compress, so the red would start moving towards the cyan, which would get us closer to a possible ribbon flip, or at least consolidation and CT moving above. The only way this negative slope is really going to change direction is the bolded CT needs to start living above, in and above the cyan line for this slope to start turning back to the upside like we had a few months ago. So we'll go ahead and look at the pre-market here. Levels are laid out pretty well. Yesterday, price action was really excellent between, this is the 5 p.m. run. I posted the, or actually 10 a.m. run, and we really bounced around between two important gamma levels. Obviously, COTMP on the 5 p.m. run is important, but zero GEX and NTrans we're opening right here. Well, I'm sorry, is right here at 44.35. We'll see where we open at again, but this will be important heading into today. And then after the 10 a.m. run populates, make sure you go ahead and update your trading view scripts. Obviously, SPY getting over P trans 44.4250 is extremely important, and then taking out the previous day high as I've denoted with this green line here. So we'll see. We have multiple if this then this for today. I think we have a good game plan heading today, so make sure you ask questions if you don't understand anything in this call or the morning call PDF. My TLDR 2-second takeaway is that the structure is beginning to change. We possibly may have in the money and out of the money call domination coming, so we'll see how that plays out. We'd definitely like to see the structure continue for the call domination, and we'll see how that plays out. So anyway, everyone have a great day. We'll see you back in the Discord in just a few minutes. Thanks. Bye.